right, back to one of our top stories here today. The Federal Reserve expected to cut interest rates tomorrow. That's something the economy has not seen since before the pandemic.
It could bring some relief for Americans struggling with inflation. Michael Sandlin has more on what this will mean for average Americans. And Mike, first of all, wasn't this cut supposed to happen earlier this year?
Yeah, Melissa, economists were predicting we'd see cuts earlier this spring, but Fed Chair Jerome Powell says inflation still wasn't under control, so they kept interest rates at their current level. So if we do see the expected cuts tomorrow, it's a sign that the Fed thinks they've finally tamped down on inflation. It can mean some really positive, exciting things for industries like the housing market.
For the average American, it is a good thing. Interest rates reducing are going to make the cost of buying a mortgage more affordable, and it should also increase the amount of mortgage that they can purchase.
That's Tom Biener with Key Realty. He says if you've been on the fence about buying a home because of all the associated costs, this potential cut might be what you've been waiting for. Since 2020, the Fed has been trying to tamp down on inflation, and interest rates have been hiked 11 times. Now, according to Money.com, a 30-year fixed mortgage now comes with roughly 6.5% interest, the highest it's been in 23 years.
When that happened, that's when buyers stopped purchasing.
Biener says many people have sat out of the market, worried that they simply couldn't afford all the associated costs. But with the possibility of a light at the end of the tunnel, that could soon all change. But Biener says, especially for Toledo, with its limited home inventory, that can also be a double-edged sword.
There is a downside that if interest rates reduce and demand increases, but supply doesn't, we're going to see property values increase, and that's going to be counterintuitive to what's going on.
But then again, Biener says this might convince people who are considering selling their home that maybe it's finally time to buy again. And generally, Biener says this cut is great news for consumers.
Absolutely. It's a good thing. It should help buyers get out there and start looking again.
So now the question remains, if we do see the Fed announce an interest rate cut tomorrow, how much of a cut could we see? Normally, the Fed will announce cuts by the 0.25%, but the AP speculates we could see an unusually large 0.5% cut. We'll have that answer for you tomorrow. In studio, I'm Michael Sandlin for WTOL 11.